Looks like I'm live, I think. Last time I checked, I think everything is running smoothly. I just wanted to jump on early. So welcome to Genealogy TV. If this is the first time here, my name is Connie Knox. And you know what? So I'm on early. It is 10:50 a.m. If you're watching on the replay by chance, and not live, I will be starting the presentation in about 10 minutes. So if you want to fast forward to that point, you can certainly do that. I am super excited to see so many people here, and say hello. You know, I'm just going to hang out and talk for a few minutes and see how everyone is doing. And you know, if you get a chance to subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. And I appreciate all the likes already. People were already liking before I even went live. So yeah, I'm just checking to make sure that everything's working well. And I see a lot of people jumping in here. Let's see if we can say hello to a few folks. And, you know, it's so funny. Yesterday, I actually had to mark the buttons on here because I had programmed something at the last minute, and it was so funny. So good morning. Welcome. This is your first live. I appreciate you being here. I'm just going to run through a few of these while we're waiting. Hello from, looks like DC. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to try and see how many of these I can get in here. Some of them we were chatting beforehand. And hello, Iowa. Cool but sunny. Welcome, welcome. Shelly here is one of my students in the academy, and she is a glutton for punishment, so she's back again today. And we have Virginia in the house. It's a couple people, I think, from the same place, maybe. Or maybe that was the same person twice. I don't know. Let's see what we have here. We need the grandparent side view. What's taking so long? Yeah, it's a good question. I've actually asked about that a couple times. So apparently I talked to one of the engineers over there, the scientists who put that stuff together, and he and Krista Cowan both have told me it's a bit complicated. For those who are not sure what we're talking about, in the side view technology, you can separate DNA paternal from maternal, the father and mother side. But they, a couple years ago, had teased us with the idea that we might be able to do the grandparents level, like be able to separate it into 4 parts. But apparently that is a bit complex. So there's that. Let me say hello to a couple more people here. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone. I probably have. Good morning. Good morning. I see everybody here from New Mexico. If you're just joining us, we're just hanging out for a few minutes while we, you know, kind of wait for the top of the hour. It's a good opportunity. If you have any questions that are brief, I might be able to take them right now. I don't know if a couple of these people I've already put up on the screen. Hello. Hi, Connie. I am also an Academy member. I missed the live yesterday, but was able to attend the after party. Fabulous. There is an after party again today. And really what that is the ability to ask questions. It's very informal. I giggle a lot because sometimes it's just crazy. But, you know, I try to answer as many questions as I can, but I don't know that I can answer all of them. Let's see what this one says. You know, I would like to see changed when I edit the relationship to what it should be on the match list, and and connect it to my tree. Similarly, a lot of people want to be able to correct through lines, and you can't do that. So, you know, hello, Oregon. I see you there. Welcome, welcome. We're going to hang out for about 5 minutes. And by the way, I don't know if anybody has noticed that Ancestry has put up something called full text search. Search full text, I think is what it is. And why is this not moving? Go. There we go. I was putting up my where are you watching from sign. Let's see. We have Texas in the house. Welcome back, Christine. I see you there. Hello from Ontario. Jane, welcome back. Good morning from North Carolina. Yay! Thank you. I appreciate the heart emoji. Speaking of through lines, why is it never updated? So you got to remember that through lines is a product of family trees plus DNA plus algorithm. So if the family trees are incorrect, then it might not update. But, you know, we're constantly getting more and more DNA kits out there. I think there's 27 million, I think is the official count on Ancestry now. And by the way, we'll be talking about MyHeritage as well. Watching from Middle Tennessee. Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Family search has changed. What does this say? Family search changed how you search on full text search. It is now a filtered dialog box. I think it's popping up in a couple different places. You can find it under the search tab now. I mean, it used to be that it was only on the lower right-hand side of the home page, but now that it's out of beta, it is available in a couple different places. Good morning, Florida. I see you there. Say hello to Ashley, everybody. My assistant, Ashley. She's fantastic. I couldn't do this job without her. Well, okay, so I had to for about 24 hours while her internet went down the other day. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Watching from Tampa Bay. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody. I see a bunch of people saying hello to Ashley now. Thank you. She deserves every heart emoji out there. She rocks. So thank you so much for what you do, Ashley. The unspoken hero behind the scenes. Speaking behind the scenes here, you want a quick shot from behind the scenes here. This is the desk setup, not to mention up here is more. So, yeah, it's a lot to keep up with doing the live show. Sometimes I think about doing the live show like every day in the morning, like for coffee clutch, you know. But I think I would probably go a little crazy doing that. So. Well, let's see. I'm going to take a couple more quick... Oh, I got to put that up. Here we go. Hello, Redmond, Washington, and Illinois. We're going to start this presentation in about a minute. So, British Columbia is in the house. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, well... 30 seconds, maybe. We're probably 30 seconds away from getting ready to go. Aw, thank you, Ashley. The dream team effort. That's cute. Let's see. Who have I not sent? Coffee with Connie, yeah. Yeah, you know, if I didn't have to prepare every day for these presentations, it would be easy just to turn this on and say hello, but you know, I don't know. All right, we're going to get this party started right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back. Quick plug, the Black Friday sale is on right now for the Genealogy TV Academy. This is the biggest sale of the year. I only do this once a year. You can get 33% off of the membership, and we'll talk more about that at the end. But yes, this is the sponsor of today's show, yours truly. And annual members get an extra 10% off if you choose the annual membership. So there's either a monthly membership or annual membership. So with that, let's get started. All right, there is a handout for this. All the Academy members have access to all of the handouts at any time. They can get those in the library or in the lesson on the Academy website. YouTube channel members also have access to it if you're at the information access level. That should be in a post. I think I posted it yesterday. So it should be in a post in the membership tab once you're logged in. And then also the Patreon members are in a post. You probably got an email from me yesterday. I don't know if Ashley had a chance to push it out again, but that's where it is. Or you can purchase it at genealogytv.org if you want. It's a beefy one. It's like 9 pages long. And it's going through a lot of what we're talking about today. And so today's agenda is a new DNA strategies, kind of new technologies that are kind of blending in with methodologies that we've been using and some new methodologies that we're starting to create based on some of the new technologies. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Genealogy TV Academy. There is a contest going on. We'll talk about that. And we'll try and take your questions. And then there's the after party, which is on Zoom, which is probably where most of the questions are going to get answered because it's a lot easier for me to answer them there. And this is a pretty full presentation. Registration is required for the Zoom. That should be in the description box, hopefully. I don't know if Ashley could post the link to the MailChimp registration page in the chat or not, but if you can, Ashley, that would be great. Today's platform that we're talking about is Ancestry and MyHeritage, and a little briefly about Family Search. Even though Family Search doesn't have DNA, but today we're talking about DNA. So anytime you have questions on any of our platforms, whether it's in a Zoom or wherever, if you start with QQQ, it helps us pay attention to it. And if it's something Ashley can answer during the presentation, she will. I will probably not be taking questions during the presentation. I will try and do that at the end or in the Zoom after party. So the contest is, MyHeritage has given me some DNA kits to give away. I have mine right here. And so I'm super excited to be talking about that today. They are not a sponsor of this, by the way. And so, you know, all the opinions are mine. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're really kind of thinking or rethinking how we do research and kind of the strategies behind what we're doing. So let's start with why we do DNA in the first place. Well, we're really kind of looking for those DNA cousin matches, those people that are clustered together in a group of people from a specific branch of the tree. Then we can start looking at their trees, looking for clues, looking for records, maybe reaching out to them and starting to build the tree. Basically, you know, when you're using DNA, you're kind of building it from the ground up. You're building it from the living, going backwards in time. So DNA cousin matches often lead us to their trees, which then lead us to clues to other records we may not have found. So when do we do DNA research or use DNA? I suggest, again, my personal opinion is that we do this after traditional research is complete. So there was a comment in yesterday's video. I tried to read some of them. And one person said, no, do DNA first. Don't waste your time. I believe that we need to use traditional DNA first and then do DNA. So looking for clues specific to an ancestor or ancestral couple is when we want to do that. We don't. Otherwise, you just get totally overwhelmed with the amount of cousin matches that you can have. It'll help you break down brick walls, identify unidentified parents, In my case, I was looking for a great-grandparent, but it might be somebody who's looking for their biological parents. So how far back can DNA be useful? Typically, 3 to 4 times great-grandparents. It just kind of depends on your genetics and I find it most useful back to 3 to 4 times. I know people have found plenty of DNA cousin matches in the 5, 6 times great-grandparent range, but we're getting way down there. So this overlay here is my DNA that I know about. These are cousin matches that descend from these great-grandparents. And if you'll notice, there's sections of the tree that are missing. And some of it is because I either haven't finished doing the research. A lot of times I focus on the higher DNA counts, the centimorgan counts, and I don't necessarily go way down into the teens and single-digit centimorgans, which might take me back farther into the tree, but I have plenty to work with right now. So I do not need to be going any deeper. Now, for some of you, you might find it in other realms, right? One of the ways that you can remember how to figure out this from this long list of DNA matches that you have, like you're focused, let's say, on a specific ancestral couple, how do you take a look at that long DNA match list and figure out who descends from that ancestral couple? Well, first of all, if you're looking for, say, your 3 times great-grandparents, count the G's. This is my quick and dirty little rule that I created several years ago. Great-great-great-grandparent, that's 4 G's, equals 4th cousins. It's a quick way. It's not perfect. You might have half relations and things that make it, weird. But you're basically looking for roughly 4th cousins that descend from your 3 times great-grandparent couple. I hope that helps. So where to focus your time? So we have a lot of grandparents, and this is only going back to our 4th times great-grandparents. We have 64 of them. Right? They double every time we go back another generation, unless you have endogamy or pedigree collapse. You might have a few less, but still, that's a lot of people to research. And so you kind of want to pick and choose what ancestral couple you want to work with first. Keep in mind that with autosomal DNA, we get 50% from our mom and 50% from our dad, and that's a rough estimate, and it's a recombination, mixture of various branches of the tree. So there's going to be times when you don't inherit, especially as we start getting back into these 3%, 1.5% generations that we've inherited DNA from. You got to keep in mind that there's going to be some branches that we don't inherit at all. We might inherit more from one side of the tree than the other, or one branch of the tree than the other. So it's not a perfect 3% of every, 3 times great-grandparent. So here I've expanded the tree a couple more generations. And the red dot here that you can see, let me pull this up a little bit fuller so that you can see it a little bit better. So here we've got an ancestor at 1.5% DNA, 4 times great-grandparent, which would equal 5th cousins that we would be looking for who descend from this ancestral couple. It really should be both the father and mother there. So how far back can we go? I mean, as we're thinking about how many years, if we take an average of, say, 25 years per generation, then we're looking at, 4 times great-grandparent is going to be roughly 150 years ago. And so that's certainly well within the paper trail that we can find traditional research for most of that. So keep that in mind. So we would be looking for those 5th cousins for that ancestral couple. Okay, so let's pretend for a moment that we're looking for this ancestral couple. Sometimes it helps to go up a generation to look for those cousin matches one step further back. It just depends on what you're doing and what your focus is, okay? Let me go back to this view. So here we would be looking for fourth cousins in the third, for our third times great-grandparents, this great-great-great-grandparents, okay? Sometimes we do have to go up here to this next generation. It just depends on what you're doing, but that you can start filtering down your match list in a variety of ways, and we're going to talk about that. So let's pretend that you've discovered, all right, I've got these cousins that I think descend from this ancestral couple, you included, right? And now with some of the new tools that we have out there, we can not only see and filter to find out those cousins that are in this, that descend from this ancestral couple. So all of us, me included, if I'm in the center there, and these fourth cousins and the fourth cousin once removed, we all descend from these this ancestral couple. Well, if you've been doing this a while, you already know this, but some of the new technology that's coming out now, especially with Ancestry Pro Tools, MyHeritage has had it for a while, but we can see the relationship between some of these ancestral couples, these DNA matches, and we can determine, oh, wait a minute, this fourth cousin once removed is actually the child of the fourth cousin. So that really helps us build our family tree. And so we can start creating floating trees within our tree. And one of the things that I need to kind of make sure that you understand is, if you're not familiar with floating trees, go check out some of the videos on the channel on Genealogy TV and learn about floating trees. I don't know if I've demonstrated it on the Genealogy TV 2 channel. If you're not familiar, I have a second channel where I really slow down, and it's like real-time research if you want to watch it. We just finished the series over there about the Davis brothers, and it was a 6-part series on trying to solve this mystery in my family tree. So getting back to this, you would then want to go search those cousin matches, their family trees, to see if they have any clues that you haven't already discovered through your research, okay? So remember that traditional genealogy is required. You can't do DNA research without traditional research. It's a must to really verify your lineage. So the evolution of DNA, consumer DNA that is, really has only been around for about 13 years in the United States, and about 10 years everywhere else, even 9 years. So we are really kind of at the infancy of this. Somebody mentioned yesterday that that the UK has had it farther back. I went back and checked my sources again. Ancestry's press release was from 2012. That's when they started doing it. Now maybe some other companies were out there before that, but this was Ancestry's introduction, okay? So we're really kind of on the frontier. We are the cutting edge. We are at the absolute beginning part of DNA research, and this is going to benefit those people who are our future generations, our grandkids and our great-grandkids, and long before after we're gone, they're going to be thankful that we took these DNA tests, and I'm super excited to be a part of that. So here's my little graphic, and I say this, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, but the very best thing you can do is to separate your DNA matches into the branches of your family tree. So if you're not used to doing this, I'll show you some tricks, but I've got tons of videos on the channel about how to do this. And so what you want to do, and this is just, you're not going to find this graphic on Ancestry or MyHeritage or any place else. This is just something I made up to kind of demonstrate what I was talking about. So I have my Henley group here, my Jensen group, my Booth group, my Clark Booth, my Winslow group, some different branches of the tree, just to kind of demonstrate that you can group these people or cluster them into different branches of the tree. So I'm over here on Ancestry, and one of the things that you can do here, when you're looking at your full match list, then drill into what you think is your best known match. That's what BKM means. Best known match for a specific branch of the tree. This would be a cousin, might even be a first cousin or a second cousin that you know descends from a specific branch of the tree, and put a little note in there. This is my BKM for my Henley Winslow ancestors or something. You know, just make a note so that when you come back here, you can do it again. Now, I'm sorry things are blurred out. That's for privacy reasons, but this is my best known match with me. And what you want to do is you want to click on the Shared Matches tool, which we've already done in this screenshot, and ignore the right-hand column for a moment. The left-hand column, or the center column, I guess I should say, is me, right? So we want to identify that branch. We want to find that best known match, which is up here, and then we want to drill in. So this is where we are. This is the list of matches that I share with my best known match, and everybody in this list, we all share DNA from that branch of the tree. So then we can group them and add them to a group. You can see where I've added a lot of little groups down here. You can add those people to a group. Let me pull that up a little bit further so you can see it a little bit better. In fact, let me just pull it up full. So now with some of the new technology, Pro Tools at Ancestry is giving us this column over here on the right. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Over at MyHeritage now, you can do the same thing. You don't have to have Pro Tools to do that. But if you go to find your best known match and you drill into that person, the first column is my relationship to this best known match, and this is my best known match. You have to scroll down, by the way, to get to this. And then this is my best known match's relationship to that person. So here it's a third cousin to my best known match, and you can see the relationships, which is kind of cool over at MyHeritage as well. So that's been around for a while. So just scroll down to make sure that you see this, because it's a ways down the page. Okay, back over on Ancestry. So here I'm talking about grouping your DNA matches. And you can do that. Whoops, my bad, I went too far, too fast. Here's my match. I hit the checkbox, and this side panel opens up, and I can add, you can see which ones I've already added. The D is there. This D is this D, right? The different branches. So what I do is I use the ancestral couple from the tree. So what I do is I take the ancestral couple surnames, and that's what I make my groups out of. And I find it to be the easiest that way. So over at MyHeritage, you can do the same thing. They call it labels. So here you would have to hit the filter tab in order to see this label button, and then you can click on create a new label. And then you hit the checkbox over on the left-hand side, and it pops open a side panel where you can then add that person by checking that and hit apply, and you would be able to add that person to that group. Okay, back over on Ancestry now. We can filter and stack our filters. So as we are filtering our DNA match list just to figure out what groups to put people in, we can filter by all kinds of things: unview matches, new matches, the types of trees. Believe it or not, you can actually look for private trees here by clicking on the private trees. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to see everything in the private tree because it's private, but it is searchable. And so you would be able to see DNA matches in the various types of trees. You have shared DNA, groups, all kinds of things. All that information is in the handout, but you can stack these filters. So that is really cool. You can also stack, this is another type of filtering, but it's the search box down here. You can search Winslow. Let me pull this up full so you can see that better. You can search, in my case, I have a surname Winslow that I have added here, and I can then add that search function. Now you got to keep in mind that the search function for this is where people have actually added that surname, a person with that surname in their tree. If they don't have the Winslow name in their tree, this filter is not going to help you with people who don't know they have Winslows in their tree. They may be a genetic connection to them, but they don't know it yet. So just be mindful of that when you're using the search by surname, it's going to search people that have people in their tree with that name. You can also search by location, which, believe it or not, every one of these tabs across the top at Ancestry is a filter box. So you can filter by location. These are all your DNA matches. You can drill into some of these matches and see. So if you're researching in Virginia, let's say, and you've got people in the Virginia area, you've got DNA matches, maybe they, generation after generation, have stayed in the same location. And so you can then search those DNA matches specific, and maybe even search, filter that as well by surname for the surnames that you know were in that area, okay? So DNA at Ancestry DNA, have some new tools that we can play with as well. So we talked briefly about the relationships in the shared matches tool, but before we do that, we want to identify where in the tree we want to search. So here I've got the Booth-Smith ancestral couple, so maybe that's what I'm going after. I want to figure out, okay, wait a minute, are these my 3 times great-grandparents or 4 times great-grandparents? What kind of cousins am I going to be looking for? Put your thinking cap on. And so if you have Pro Tools, you have this right-hand column here as well. So I've drilled into my best known match. You can see that here, that I'm match number 1 and me, we're first cousins, but to my best known match, it's a second cousin or half first cousin. So we can see that relationship. You do not have to have Pro Tools to do the same thing over at MyHeritage, by the way. So this is how my best known match relates to match number 1, and so on down the list. So what's cool is if you look down here at match number 3, my best known match, that is her niece. So that is helpful when I'm trying to build out the family tree. And I hope you can see that quite well. Let's go back to this view. So long story short is you can actually sort now by this same column. So it automatically sorts by my column, but you could go up here. Up at the top, there's a sort button. You can click the sort button and sort by the best known matches, right? And see, you might find father and son relationship. You might find parent-child, right? You might find uncle. You might find all kinds of different relationships that will help you build out that tree, okay? Just keep that in mind. So Ancestry, then, this is not a DNA tool, but they're suggesting you could use it as a DNA tool. Ancestry recently came out with networking. So it really is best, I think, for use when using it with records. So if you have a passenger list, a wedding registry with a bunch of family in it, you have a census record, you have tax rolls, whatever kind of records you might find, and you want to create a network from those people in there because it is these friends, associates, and neighbors, right? That fan club and family that we can create these networks from. And a lot of times when you create multiple networks, you start to see the same fan club members popping up in multiple networks. For example, maybe some people that you added from a passenger list, maybe you haven't figured out exactly how they're family yet, but they have all moved over from the old country to America, and they migrated together, or wherever they're migrating from and to, right? And then you go and you find some newspaper articles, you find that wedding registry or whatever, and you've created all these different little networks. And then you go to look at some of these people in the profile because you're going, hey, that name sounds familiar. And you go look at their profile because you've added them to a network. which basically is like doing a floating tree or a floater in your tree. And you can go, oh, look at that. They also were on the passenger list. They were in this funeral notice, this obituary. They were also, I mean, you can just kind of go crazy with the networks, which is fun. You can also use it for DNA. And so if you have a bunch of people that you're not quite sure of, you could add these people. But I find that it is, for DNA, it is much easier to use grouping than networks. So I'm just giving you the heads up that it might be easier, but it does kind of help if you want to create floaters in your tree. You could create them that way. I find that to be a bit challenging, though, with the networks. I would start with a grouping first. So Ancestry now has DNA clusters. Now, MyHeritage has had this for a long time. And so what it is, if you're not familiar with it, is your DNA matches grouped together by branches of the family tree. So the standard clusters go down to 65 centimorgans. And we'll talk more because in the last couple of weeks, there's been some new technology that has even come out even further. So what this is across the top are your DNA cousin matches that all have a genetic connection with each other. And it's the same people down the side. So you can then kind of cross, this is privatized, right? But NN and CC here, let me pull this up full so you can see it better. You can see that these people have a genetic connection with them. And if you click on that little colored box, which a lot of people don't know you can do, you can see what the centimorgans they share between them. This is a pro tool. And I personally find it worth it, but that's just me. It's like $10 a month, I think, at Ancestry. Now, you can do something similar over at MyHeritage. Just saying, they've had the clustering for a long time. So just let you know. So now Ancestry has come out with custom clusters. So the custom clusters go down to 20 centimorgans. So why do we do custom clusters? Well, when the standard clusters came out down to 65 centimorgans, people were like, this is worthless to me. I don't have any clusters because my cousin matches are below 65 centimorgans. And so I think Ancestry's way to fix that was to go down to 20 centimorgans on a custom cluster. And so it's my understanding, because I asked this question, why don't we go below 65 centimorgans? And they said, because of the processing power for everybody, it's just too big of an engine that it would require to be able to cluster in the standard clusters down below 65 centimorgans. But with custom clustering, it's kind of clustering on demand, if you will. So now you can create custom clusters. So what do you do? How do you do this? So you take a best known match, right? Somebody that you know is in the family tree. Here, I don't know that you can see this very well, but I have picked my first cousin once removed up here, and my sidekick, as they call it at Ancestry, is also a first cousin once removed. These are both first cousins to each other. The reason why they are first cousins once removed is because they are first cousins to my father. So this is like first cousins once removed in an upward direction. Most people are familiar with first cousins once removed in a downward direction, the child of your first cousin. But in this case, it is my first cousins once removed in a generation older than me. So that is why I picked these two, because A, they're closer to the ancestral couple than I am by one generation, and I can then cluster this group down to 20 centimorgans, which is much more helpful. So I can then see how they all relate, right? We've got, one of the other things I forgot to mention is that while it goes down to 20 centimorgans, on the high end, it's 1,300 centimorgans, whereas on the standard clusters, it is from 65 to 3,500. So you would see parent-child relationships in there. So this does not go as high on the centimorgan count. It only goes up to 1,300 centimorgans, okay? And so you can add all of these people by hitting the Add All button, which I'll show you more here in a moment. And then you can also add people to this custom cluster if you want. Just checkbox the ones you want and add them to the group. So if we scroll down a little bit where that Add All button is, we can add all of these people in this cluster all at one time to a new group. This is another reason why I think grouping is a little bit easier than using the the networks at Ancestry, because I just find it a whole lot easier to create a group this way. It kind of automatically does it for you. So Ancestry says, this is from their blog, why create custom clusters? Clustering around a certain match can help you fill in the missing parts in your tree. Discover matches who share DNA with the match of your choice, likely because they all come from the same ancestor. You can even add up to 4 related matches, which we call sidekicks. So that was what I was talking about when I showed you the NN person was the sidekick, to help narrow your results further. Custom clustering goes beyond enhanced shared matches, showing you not just matches you share with a match, but also who's related to those matches. When you create a custom cluster, you can also choose the centimorgan ranges you want, from 20 centimorgans on the low end to 13 centimorgans on the high end. So just to kind of recap that, this is my little limbo guy. How low can you go? So with standard clusters, it's 65 to 3,500. And with custom clusters, it is 20 centimorgans to 1,300. Okay? I think you got it now. If you ever want to know what your centimorgan count, like what are the possible relationships, I plugged in over at DNA Painter. I love this website. Go to the Shared Matches tool and type in 1,300, and you can see the possible relationships here. And you can also, by the way, use this percentage if you want to go, okay, how many centimorgans does 1.5% have? So you click on that and put 1.5% in, and you can see what the relationship possibilities are there, which is a lot. So how to pick your match of interest. Again, from the Ancestry support area, they're giving us a bunch of ideas here. So pick your second or third cousin if you have close cousin matches. Choose a cousin related to you through your brick wall ancestors to find their matches and connect to that ancestor. Look for unique clues. Prioritize matches with distinctive last names, unique locations, or trees that don't overlap with your known relatives. Another idea is to follow your curiosity. Choose the match who doesn't fit into your known family tree or who you're curious about. And start with a brick wall. You can try this. Focus on a match who's linked to part of your tree where there's an unknown ancestor, or check your shared matches. A good candidate may have shared matches you don't recognize and can't place, hinting at the unknown branch. So there's several ideas for you on that front. Here's where I had just kind of created a network. You can do this without Pro Tools. I'm going to take a quick sip here. And so you can, now this is just an example of creating a network from a passenger list, but you could also do this from your DNA groups if you want. You could do it in Excel. This is a Google Sheet. That's free. But I like to create these little networks from time to time. I typically do them in Ancestry networks, though. It just depends. I have done some very extensive DNA studies using Excel spreadsheets. Nowadays, sometimes I might use Lucidchart, which is a little bit easier, I think, than doing DNA research in an Excel spreadsheet, because you're constantly stretching and moving and having to move things around, whereas Lucidchart's a little easier. So you can create groups out of clusters, as we mentioned, by hitting that Add All button and add them all. So let's talk briefly about origins. So really briefly, because I think this is really more of entertainment than it is helpful for our family history research. You know, they formerly called it ethnicity estimates, and we would say, hey, by the way, that's an estimate. It will change over time. So I'm just, you know, kind of reiterating that. They're calling them origins now because they're now saying that these origins go deeper, 500 to 1,000 years into the ancestral tree, and that, we got to consider migrations and such. And also, I heard Krista Cowan say the other day, and I thought this was a great comment. She said that the regions here are based on current day regions. You got to remember, border changes, things changed. Germany wasn't Germany back then. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at this. Personally, this is the last thing I look at when I'm doing DNA research. I am focused on the DNA matches. So as we create new discoveries, we also can go back to some of that traditional research and some of the new technologies over there at Family Search. This is the one part I'm talking about, Family Search, and that is with that full text search. So Ancestry's come out with something called Search Full Text, which is really more of an OCR and an indexing search. But at Family Search, this is doing the handwriting recognition. I think the only thing in that, on the Ancestry side, they have a new drop-down menu that says Search Full Text Search. I think the only thing in there that is handwriting recognition, I'm looking to get clarification on this, is the 1950 census. The U.S. Census was, they used handwriting recognition for that. But on the Family Search Full Text Search, they're using handwriting recognition for all kinds of court records, wills, probate, land records, and such. So as you make these new discoveries in your DNA research, come back to that traditional genealogy. Keep in mind that all of these DNA kits are on sale right now, so be mindful of that, because as we are thinking about the holidays, please make sure you ask your family before you surprise them with a DNA kit, because they might not want to take a DNA kit, take a DNA test, and so you might want to be making sure that you have permission for that. So now let's talk about more new technology, and that is MyHeritage has now announced that they have the whole genome sequencing. And so what does that mean exactly? Well, previously at MyHeritage and currently at Ancestry, they do these 700,000 microarray DNA tests. Those are 700,000 markers on the genome that they are testing to help figure out our DNA cousins, right? Well, now whole genome sequencing is 3 billion pairs and base pairs, and so it's pretty much the whole genome, although it is a low pass. It is 2 passes, I guess, unlike what you get when if you do a DNA test with for health reasons, that is a multi-pass, but for the MyHeritage thing, they're doing a 2-pass, but still, it's kind of cutting edge, so I'm super excited to be a part of that. And again, I'm not sponsored by MyHeritage. I'm just saying I think this is really cool, and I want to be a part of it. So MyHeritage's blog says that this will enable MyHeritage to deliver more accurate ethnicity results, improving DNA matching, and new genealogy products. However, this revolution will not happen overnight. First, the database of whole genome sequences need to grow. Then MyHeritage will be able to rematch all existing MyHeritage DNA customers, leading to better results for everyone. Okay, so I'm not going to read that whole thing, but I'm just saying they're not going to have this overnight. But, for $29, which is what it's on sale for right now, you can do some really cool stuff. So let's talk about the differences between chromosome browsers and chromosome painter. Chromosome browser is at MyHeritage. Chromosome painter is at Ancestry. And so there are big differences. So you got to make sure you understand. So chromosome browser's been out for a long time at MyHeritage, and people have been begging Ancestry to bring out a chromosome browser. Don't hold your breath. I don't think they're going to do it. Just saying. So here's what it is. So if you pick 2 cousins, 3 cousins, siblings, whatever, you pick people that are from the same family branch, the same branch of the tree. Here I've got a couple, I think these are first cousins that I was using for this example. And I plug them into the chromosome browser, what this is showing us, where all these arrows are where we all share DNA with each other on the exact same chromosome in the exact same place. So what does that mean, you ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because what it means is that this is the DNA of our ancestors. So if we do this enough times, we might be able to actually rebuild, maybe not in our lifetime, but rebuild the DNA of our ancestors, which I think is just crazy exciting. So that is over at MyHeritage. They've had this for a while, and so you can go play with it if you happen to be a MyHeritage user. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by anybody, Ancestry or anybody, so I'm just saying. So over at Ancestry now, they have a chromosome painter, which is different. This is where they are taking your ethnicity results and painting them onto the chromosomes. And you can then divide them by maternal or paternal, as you can see right here. But just to let you know, that's the difference. I personally don't find a lot of value in this when I'm doing family history research. In fact, I don't really use either one of them that much, the painter or the browser. I do use them. I think it's exciting, especially using the browser, but when it comes down to me trying to like fill in the next generation back, I don't know that I find it as useful as record research, as looking at DNA matches and such. So MyHeritage is no longer allowing upload. So it used to be that you could upload your DNA from, say, Ancestry. You could download it from Ancestry and upload it to MyHeritage. They are no longer allowing that because of the new genome sequencing. I think it's just probably too much of a crazy animal to try and match everything up. So there's that you need to know about. So for $29, you can be part of the cutting edge technology. Again, we are on the frontier of DNA, which I think is very exciting. So here's my advice. Focus on one branch at a time. Start with what you know. Filter your DNA matches to the branch that you are searching and build your tree from those matches of interest. So as we're thinking about a strategy going forward, think about identifying that branch or family unit that you are researching first. Do traditional research first. Try and find all the records you can on that ancestral couple. And, one of the reasons why I say this is because as you are then looking at your DNA matches, you will have a better understanding of what you have to look at. So if you're looking at your DNA matches, you're looking at their trees, you've done a bunch of the traditional research, so you already know where they're from, where they were living, what time period, some of the birth dates and that kind of stuff. You can better match your DNA matches to go, okay, this person is from this branch of the tree based on the information that I already know. Okay? Identify your research question at that point, and then filter to the branch again, to the matches that you need. Identify your best known match for the target ancestors. This is the ancestral couple that you are researching. Group or cluster, same thing. Clustering is the same thing as grouping to the best known match. And use the shared matches to discover their relationships, especially if you have Pro Tools or you are a MyHeritage user. And then view the quality matches for clues. And those look in their trees, look to see if they have records you haven't discovered. And then add those people too and don't do this for every DNA match. My gosh, you would be doing this forever. But try and do this for your matches that are what I call quality matches. These are people that you absolutely know have been doing good research. You can look at their tree and discover if they're doing good research. Do they have any sources, or are they just copying from other people's trees, right? So you can kind of tell just by looking at somebody's tree how good a quality their tree is, and therefore, as you're starting to filter it out, you can figure it out. So that's what I mean by quality. So add those people as floaters or using networks to identify unknown quality matches, and then determine how they connect and add them to your tree. So if you're using the floating tree strategy, which is basically a little cluster of people, a little family unit or a single person that you don't know where they fit in your tree, you attach them to your own tree and watch the videos on how to do floating trees. But basically they're kind of hanging out in your tree, and you got to use the same tree that your DNA is attached to do this. Don't start a second tree because it just causes you so much more work. So if you have these people as floaters and then you discover, oh, wait a minute, I figured it out because of this DNA group that I've created. Maybe one of the other cousins had the answer to where they fit. And then you can go, okay, now I can connect that person to the tree. The work is already done. All you got to do is add them as an existing person to your tree. So that saves you a lot of time. Then return to traditional research to investigate the new findings that you've discovered. And then rinse and repeat. Generation after generation, ancestor after ancestor, right? So I would suggest you avoid reaching out to other DNA matches until you've kind of completed your first round of research first and kind of figure it out. I know I heard Krista Cowan at Ancestry one time say that she does not reach out to a DNA cousin until she's figured out how they fit in the tree, which I think is brilliant. Because then she can reach out and say, hey, I think I can help you. I think I know how you fit here. So that's very cool. So what is real with DNA, and what is it that you need to kind of be aware of? So what is real are DNA matches. The research that you do, the records that you find are real. They're tangible. What needs verification are family trees, because they're, all of us are building family trees and we make mistakes. So it could be that you discover that there might be an error in somebody else's tree. I wouldn't be beating them up over it. I would just go about my business and make my tree the best it can be, right? Ethnicity estimates, they're going to change over time. They're like over hundreds of years time span. So because migration patterns are happening all the time, I find it very challenging to use ethnicity estimates anymore for solid DNA research. And then the records that you do find could have errors, and so you need to learn how to evaluate those records. So you basically identify, you do that traditional research, you strategize which branch you're going to do, you group or cluster to your best known matches for each branch in the family tree that you're researching, and then you go and do the research again to see if, based on the new information that you have, to see if there are any new records that you could find for that. And then you just keep going around in circles, generation after generation, as you climb the tree. It's kind of fun. So there is a contest for this. The MyHeritage kits, there is a link in the description box that you have to go and register for. We're going to give away at least one, probably several DNA kits for the whole genome sequencing that we'll pull that on December 15th. So you've got a little bit of time if you want to register for that. Registration is required for that. You must live in the United States. Sorry for those outside the United States. You must be 18 years of age or older, one per household. Odds of winning are based on the number of entries. So there's my material terms for the contest. And there's more contest rules on the website and on the landing page for signing up for that. So if you want to be a part of the after party, we're getting close to that. That'll probably kick off in around 10 minutes or so. As soon as this live stream is over, it looks like we're still going well here. There is a link in the description box. Registration is required for that. It's for security reasons. So as soon as you fill out the form, you should get redirected for the Zoom link on that. That is on Zoom. So hopefully you found some useful things here on this presentation. Let me tell you about the Academy, because this whole thing we talk about at the Academy a lot. And so one of the reasons why I started the Academy is because I thought no one was really teaching the skills that I thought in the way that I thought they should be taught. These are skills. This is not how to do your German research or how to do your Danish research. This is how to research. This is how to do quality evaluation of the records, how to find the records, how to get organized, how to do record research, how to do evidence evaluation. And what does that mean? That means we're taking a record and we're evaluating it for the evidence that's in it. Is this a copy? Is it an original? Is it, too hard to read? Is it, I mean, there's so many things that go into record evaluation, and that's one of the key components of the academy that we teach. Correlation of evidence is where we take all of the evidence that's surrounding around your research question, and we are comparing the evidence so that we can resolve any conflicts that we might have. We do the documentation, we do research skills and research strategies. As you are seeing today, we're talking about it too. These are all skills you can learn, right? It can take your family tree back, ancestor after ancestor, generation after generation, just as far back as the paper trail, and maybe the DNA trail will let you, right? So there are two components to this. There are live classroom that is via Zoom, and then there are the whole entire recorded library and self-guided courses. So everything that we have done at the Academy is still up there from the day it was created, and you can watch all of those live sessions in recorded fashion, which I think is probably the cornerstone of what we've got on the Academy. We do live sessions on the first and third Wednesday of each month at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. They are recorded for those who are working or can't make it. And then this December 3rd is our December presentation, and we have a special guest coming in. That is Annette Burke-Little. I'm super excited because she's one of my very favorite instructors, and so I can't wait to see her speak. So what's included? The Academy exclusive live classroom, the Academy exclusive recordings of all the past sessions. I think I started this in March of 2022, so all of those months have sessions for you to watch. All of the Academy handouts and worksheets, the flagship courses, which are beginner courses, really, getting started in genealogy and smart research. There is the YouTube videos from 2021 to present day. So that's right, all of the videos from the YouTube channel from 2021 to present day and their handouts are in the Academy. So there's that. Oh, and by the way, it's commercial-free viewing. You don't have to watch YouTube ads, and all of the handouts. So there is the Genealogy TV Insiders Facebook group, which is really cool because it's a great community. It's just for Academy members, and you can jump in there and ask questions. I'm in there every day, and Ashley, I think, is in there probably almost every day. And then it's a community of people, so everybody's invited to help answer questions if needed. And so that is, I think, very helpful. So you happen to be on Facebook, and some people have actually joined Facebook just to be a part of the Insiders. So there is the inside look at the Academy dashboard, and there are now 498 lessons in all of these courses. The thumbnails that you're seeing go by here are courses, not just lessons. They're inside each one of these. You drill into the course, and there's a whole bunch of lessons inside. It just depends on what lesson or which course it is that you drill into. And so there is a ton of stuff, and we're adding stuff every week. So every time there's a new video on the YouTube channel, you can watch it over there at the Academy, commercial free, get the handout every week. And then this here is where I'm demonstrating where the handouts are. So there's the handouts library, but you can also get them in the lessons. So they're predominant in the lesson. If you go straight to the lesson, you watch the video, the handout is right underneath the video. And so here you could search for any of the handouts you want. There are like pages and pages. I know this is kind of fast forwarding through some examples, but you can then open them up and use them. And yeah, easy. It's all the handouts are in one place. So There are worksheets as well for those who want to do some census comparisons and that kind of stuff. So the private Facebook group we talked about, where you can ask questions, and sometimes it's faster than waiting for Q&A day. So that helps. I call it the All Access Pass. You get 2 Zoom meetings a month, and then everything on the dashboard, on the website, and then all of the handouts and worksheets. So it's on sale. So I know it's not Black Friday yet, but we're pretending that it is because I kind of want to take the weekend off for Thanksgiving. So Black Friday is on sale now. So if you want to be a part of it, this is the biggest sale of the year. It normally is $62 a month, but it is on sale right now with an incredible savings of 33% off. You can use the promo code THANKS33. And this is the monthly version. There's a monthly and an annual version. If you pick the monthly version, the regular rate's $62. The discount code gives you $20 off per month, and that would bring you down to $41.54 a month for life. So even if you leave the Academy and come back, you'll still have that same rate. Annual members get an extra 10% off to start. So if you take the $62 times 12, that's $744 a year. And then that's a savings of $74 just for picking the annual. It's 10% that you then stack the promo code on top of that, which is another $220 off the annual rate with the promo code THANKS33. By the way, there's no space in that. And that brings your annual rate down to $448 a year. And you have a savings of almost $300 off of the annual rate. That's almost 5 months for free. So here's my thinking about this. This is at genealogytv.org/academy if you want to be a part of that. Here's my thinking. Some of these institutes and some of these academies that you go to for a week cost this much. Here I am giving you a year. Actually, probably less, because I know I have gone to some of the academies. I love them. I love those institutes. And we do a deep dive for a week on something. It might cost $500-600 to be a part of that in-depth course. Here you're getting hundreds of lessons, hundreds of handouts, and it's constantly being added to every week as YouTube videos come out, as new presentations from the exclusive stuff on the Academy, from the Zoom calls and stuff. So all of that, I think, is about as cheap as I can make it and still pay the expenses. So don't forget the coupon code THANKS33 at checkout, and you can be a part of the Academy starting today. And oh, by the way, if you happen to be a member of Patreon or the YouTube channel membership, you won't need those anymore because everything is included at the Academy. So if you're ready to learn how to avoid making mistakes, getting organized, learn good research skills, smart strategies, improve your lineage so that you can have confidence in your research and you can share your family history with your friends and family, I hope you'll come join us. So are you ready to find your ancestors, to break down brick walls, and to get organized, to learn proper genealogy research, and to use those same skills again and again, ancestor after ancestor, generation after generation? Here's my commitment. If you are committed to learning, we are committed to helping you on your journey. And my guarantee is this: if you are not satisfied, if you change your mind or aren't satisfied for any reason, just send us an email within 14 days of your purchase and we'll give you a full refund within 24 business hours. That's my guarantee. So who's teaching the courses? 95% of the time it's me. I will be adding some additional instructors in 2026. And so I'm excited about that. Will the classes be recorded? Yes. So if you can't make it, everything is recorded. Is this the same as the Genealogy TV channel membership and the Patreon membership? No, it is not, because there's a lot of exclusive stuff specific for the Academy. That's specifically the Zoom calls, very lengthy lessons similar to what you are seeing today. And then the other difference is on the channel memberships and the Patreon memberships. If you were watching an older video on the YouTube channel and you want the handout for it, you have to scroll back a couple of years whenever that video was produced to get to that handout. So those in the membership areas. And so this is all in one place on the Academy. So how long will this offer be available? It will be available until December 1st. So I hope you'll join us. There's your two options. The monthly membership with the promo code would bring you down to $41.54 a month. With the annual membership, it would be $448 a year, saving you almost $300. Okay, so the last thing that you need to know is the Get Started button. So go to genealogytv.org/academy and hit the Get Started button. This is the only time of the year I do this big of a discount, so be mindful of that. If you want the handout, I think you may have. I don't know that we put it in the chat, the link to the handout on the website if you're not interested in joining the Academy. But I think it's over. If you go into genealogytv.org/handout, you would find it there. So with that, we're going to probably get the after party started on Zoom here in a moment. Make sure that you sign up for it. So I had a couple people say, I can't find the link for it. It's in the description on this video. You follow that link. You're going to probably have to copy and paste it into a browser because I don't think YouTube allows clickable links anymore in the description. So you may have to copy and paste it out of the description. And then as soon as you fill out the form, this is just for security reasons so that we don't have trollers in there. So we'll see you on the Zoom side here momentarily, and I hope that was helpful. I'm going to try and take a quick peek at I have been trying to avoid the chat because I've been so busy. But if I know Ashley is getting, oh good, she put the link in the chat up there. That's awesome. Thank you, Ashley, for doing that. So we're going to jump over to the Zoom. If you have any questions, that's probably the best place to do it because it's after 12 o'clock now here on the East Coast. And I don't want to be disrespectful to your time. So thanks for joining us today. I hope to see you at the Academy. We have a lot of fun over there. And so with that, I'm going to end the stream and we'll see you in the Zoom call in a few minutes. I'll try and get over there as quick as I can.